Hi, everyone. My name is Bruno, as Aline mentioned. I'm here to talk about how AI is disrupting our profession, which you probably are aware. I'm bombarded every day in social media with AI news and stuff. So before I go into detail, I want to ask you this question. So how do you design housing for 9 million people? So if you think of the population of Dublin, I checked it before coming in, is 500,000, right? So we're talking about 20 times the population of Dublin. How do you design houses for 20 times the population of Dublin in a period of, let's say, 30 years? This task is humanly unachievable. It's just not possible. We don't have the resources, we don't have the time to do it at that scale. And this is the problem we're dealing with in the line, in NEOM. Have you heard of this project? Well, if you haven't heard about it, you're probably living under a rock. It's probably the biggest project on Earth at the moment. And it's a 30-kilometer long city happening in Saudi Arabia that will house 9 million people by 2030. So we have a few years to make this happen. And this is the problem I've been dealing with for the last year in the company I work for, how to solve that problem. And the fact is we started developing a platform that will enable us to solve that problem. And that platform is called the Real Estate Productization Platform. And it's an AI platform that will create real estate products and automate a lot of the processes that we do as architects and developers and construction. So things like costing, things like models, things like drawings, things like schedules, all that work will be, 80% of that work will be automated. And this is happening right now. We're busy developing the phase 2 of the app, and it has to be live as NEOM kicks into high gear, which will happen in the next 6 months. And this is a reality, which makes us think a bit, so how does this affect us? You know, we are, well, I'm an architect myself. I'm not sure about you, but I do drawings. I work on Revit. I also do research. But if I look at this, it's a bit scary because suddenly half of the stuff you do is going to be automated soon, like not in 5 years. It's going to be like next year. So how will this affect us? So if I ask you here in these people just here in the audience, can I ask you to raise your hand and just, if you are afraid you will lose your job to AI in the future, can you raise your hand? No one? Oh, that's great. That's perfect. That's actually very good news. I was expecting maybe half or something like that. So the fact is AI is changing the way we work. That's a reality. It won't replace us. I think that's clear from the audience. You're a very well-educated audience. We won't be replaced, that's for sure. But it's definitely affecting the way we do things. And I just wanted to, because you're very well educated, so I'm going to go through this very quickly, but I just wanted to explain what an AI model is. And I personally have a problem with calling things AI because it's not really AI, it's actually machine learning, which is different. So I'm just going to go through the structure of any machine learning model, which is what we know as AI, is basically a series of data sets. I just can't really look at the screen because otherwise you won't hear me. But it's an initial data set that we give a machine learning algorithm to process and find relationships in that data set. Because of the huge computing power of machines, they are very good at finding relationships that we can't see. So we give them data A, data B, data C, and we tell the machine, find whatever you can find. And then the machine will tell us, we'll find things. We won't even see what those things are sometimes because it's a mysterious way of working. Well, it's not mysterious, but what I mean is the process in between giving the data to the machine and the output is like a black box. So we can't really see what's going on there, and there's many things happening. And the model will find, using different machine learning models, will get closer to predicting values based on the relationships that we got from that data set. So Basically, any AI model is a machine learning model that predicts values based on training models. And what do we do with those values? So that's where the humans will always come in, because humans will always tell the machine what's good and what's bad, right? So I had the luck to be working with AI models for a whole year in Barcelona, in Spain. And I'm just going to show you very quickly what we did, because I don't want to run out of time. I'm not sure where the timer is, but I don't see it. There we go. Thank you very much. So one of the models I'm going to show you just two examples. This model was a machine learning model that will enable the application basically to harvest the data from Google Earth images, identify the plazas. You know, the plazas are like gathering spaces especially in Latin countries like Italy or Spain, and will give feedback on what's the best activity for that plaza. So it could be a concert, it could be a market, it could be a gathering of certain number of people. And to train this model, we had a very complicated workflow, which you can see in the screen, and I'm not going to go into detail in it, but it wasn't easy. And there's a lot of steps in it, and there was a lot of failures. And to get this machine learning model to actually do something useful took us more or less 3 months. So there was a lot of data, there was a lot of testing, and there was a lot of... eventually, we managed... This is more or less the way data looks in a machine learning model, and how you have to analyze it and check and compare to the ground truth. You know, the ground truth in this case will be like, if the machine learning model is telling us this plus is very good for a concert, is it really good for a concert? You know, does it make sense, right? This was another machine learning model, which we trained the machine by giving it satellite images of landscapings. And we reduced the features in the landscapings to pixelation. So if there was a river, it would be blue. If it was a desert, it would be yellow. If it was forest, it would be green, and so on, right? And what we wanted to do with this is more or less, it was actually quite enjoyable, because it was meant to be a game, right? So you could create worlds with pixels. So the whole thing of this model was a bit of a fun dynamic of being able to paint with pixels and get out a satellite image out of it, so, like create your own worlds. And this model took a bit of training, and also like 3 months. It was a complicated process. But as you can see here, if you look at the left one, is the pixelation of the proposed ground truth, which is the one in the middle, and the predicted image is getting very close to it. And this was obviously a proof of concept. It wasn't finished, but it shows you more or less some applications of machine learning models. So is autonomous AI here? So when you look at these models that I was showing you, as you can see, we're very far from an autonomous AI as we see it in movies that, you know, is capable of independent thought. I really can't tell you if that will happen anytime. I'm not sure, but it's definitely not now. This is Greg Brockman, from one of the co-founders of ChatGPT. And in one of his TED Talks, he was speaking about how we use the models as a child. You teach the model what's good and what's bad. You know, it gives you a value, and then you tell that model, this is useful, or that is useful, but that is not useful. And the AI model keeps that information and is able to replicate that process. And we teach the model as well what to do with those skills. So it's like teaching a child to grow up, you know, and develop. And that child is AI, but it's definitely not capable of independent thought. So how do we harness this for us, like for our own professions? What do we do with this information? Well, the fact is, when I was showing them the models I was working with in 2019, this was 3 years ago, it was quite hard. The tools were not connected to each other. We had to do a lot of patching and things. And nowadays, it's very easy to train your own models. I'll show you now. I just want to, before I go into that, this is the last example that I will show things that I worked on. And this was basically using AI to catalog BIM objects. So we had these hospital rooms that had very complex equipment. And it was very easy to do mistakes when doing manual work when you populate the room data sheets and for hospitals, and there was so much going into it that mistakes were very possible. So we developed a machine learning model with a complicated workflow. And we were teaching the machine to recognize pieces. So we had to extract the geometry of the model, put it into Unity, and tell the algorithm, this is actually a system, this is a linear accelerator, that's whatever it is. And eventually, we managed with computer vision, which is an open source algorithm at the moment, for the machine to be able to recognize what the objects were on the screen, even if you were spinning and moving. So how is this useful? Well, this is very good because then you can use it to catalog things in a Revit model, without having to do it manually. Nowadays, it's way easier to build your own model because, among other things, I'm going to focus a lot on NVIDIA because I believe they are way ahead of the curve. And they have released I haven't used it yet, so I am assuming it's been released. It may not have been released yet. What they call the AI workbench. So I'm going to show you a quick video of what this model can do. Sorry, what this application can do. Is there sound for the video?
Results customized with your secured proprietary data is challenging. NVIDIA AI Workbench streamlines selecting foundation models, building your project environment, and fine-tuning these models with domain-specific data. Here, AI Workbench is installed on a GeForce RTX 4090 laptop, where we've been experimenting with an SDXL project. As our project gets more complex, we need much more memory and compute power, so we use AI Workbench to easily scale to a workstation powered by 4 NVIDIA RTX 6000 Ada generation GPUs. AI Workbench automatically creates your project's environment, building your container with all dependencies including Jupyter. Now, in the Jupyter Notebook, we prompt our model to generate a picture of Toy Jensen in space. But because our model has never seen Toy Jensen, it creates an irrelevant result. To fix this, we fine-tune the model with 8 images of Toy Jensen, then prompt again. The result is much more accurate. Then, with AI Workbench, we deploy the new model in our enterprise application. This same simple process can be applied when customizing LLMs such as Llama 2 70B. To accommodate this much larger model, we use AI Workbench to scale to the data center, accessing a server with 8 NVIDIA L40S GPUs. We tune with 10,000 USD code snippets and nearly 30,000 USD functions built by NVIDIA, which teaches the model to understand 3D USD-based scenes. We call our new model ChatUSD. ChatUSD is a USD developer's co-pilot, helping answer questions and generate USD Python code. With NVIDIA AI Workbench, you can easily scale your generative AI projects from laptop to workstation to data center or cloud with a few clicks.
You see where I'm going with this? That means you can easily create models nowadays, and you can deploy them in your office almost as a weekly basis, So what this enables you is to basically multiply yourself, Things that you do nowadays, like, for example, clash detection. How difficult do you think it will be to create a clash detection machine learning model that can do the clash detection for you? I mean, I haven't seen it, but having these tools at your hands might even take like a month. And then what that machine learning model will save your office in terms of time is huge. Suddenly, what will take a week of work, it will take you maybe an hour. So you have that extra, almost 4 days and a half of work that you can use to do something else, right? Let me show you just another short video because I'm running out of time. But this is very
Planning
impressive.
Industrial spaces, like factories or warehouses, is a long, complex process. Let's see how you can use NVIDIA Omniverse and generative AI to connect your OpenUSD to fast-track planning concepts, like a storage extension to an existing factory. Use SyncTwin's Omniverse extension to quickly convert a 2D CAD floor plan into a 3D OpenUSD model. and populate it with SIM-ready OpenUSD assets using Omniverse's AI-enabled deep search. Then use prompts to generate physically accurate lighting options with Blender GPT. Realistic floor materials with Adobe Firefly. And an HDRI Sky Dome with Blockade Labs. To see the new space in context, compose it on a cesium geospatial plane next to your existing factory digital twin. Then, to share with stakeholders, use one click to publish the proposal to Omniverse Cloud GDN, which serves a fully interactive review experience to any device. Fast-track your factory planning process with NVIDIA Omniverse and generative AI. Planning and
How cool is that? So yeah, we won't be replaced, but definitely you'll need less people to do what we do nowadays. And the fact is the AEC firms of the future might be smaller. That's a reality. There's going to be a bit of a shift of the way we work. AI models will become more prevalent and will augment our capabilities as architects, designers, technicians, doing probably more than half of our work at the moment. So definitely jobs will change because suddenly a firm that needed 100 people will probably need 30 to do the same output. But the new sets of skills will be required, right? That doesn't mean we will probably run out of jobs. There's going to be people doing other things like building models, you know, for offices. So maintaining those models or, I don't know, it's difficult to tell. But the fact is, you can either take this on and be part of the change, or you know, stay behind. Just close your eyes and think that everything's going to be the same in 5 years' time and see how that goes. You know? You're probably, I was going to say you end up as a truck driver, but probably not, because the trucks will be self-driven. Anyway, so I believe the future is exciting. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe that it's rather to be part of the revolution than just sit back and just let it happen. And I was surprised to see that Greg thinks the same thing. He thinks that AI requires participation from everyone to shape it. It's a technology that looks different, that is different. And we all have to become literate. And that's why they released ChatGPT. It's so easy to learn now with ChatGPT and so many other tools. So I encourage you to take a dive in. I did it before, and it was difficult. Now it's way easier. The entry barrier has been lowered a lot, and it's totally worth it. And you'll see the difference in your professional future, right? I hope this helped you to dream a little bit and don't be afraid and be optimistic. Thank you very much.